Hi, my name's Tom and I'm one of the electric vehicle specialists here at Bedford Audi. Today I'm here to talk to you about the future of Audi, and that future is electric. Audi entered the EV world back in 2019 with its e-tron. We've since released the e-tron Sportback and the S variant of both. We've got e-tron GT and we've now got the brand new Q4 e-tron as well. When buying an electric Audi don't want the experience to be any different to when you're looking at a standard internal combustion engine. There's going to be a few subtle styling features, things like a different display on your dashboard. You've got other functions in your car settings, things for range mode and charge settings, but then you've also got the standard creature comforts, so like heated seats, you've still got USB ports and wireless phone charging, all the things you'd come to expect from a normal Audi. The interior of an electric Audi is very similar to that of a normal one. There's a few additional charging features. If we go into the car settings, for example, you'll see the extra menu for charging and efficiency. Inside this menu, we can look at things like setting specific charging targets or charging times for people who want to take advantage of Economy 7 tariffs. You've got a range mode for when you need that extra few miles, and you've also got efficiency assist, inside which you can adjust the recuperation and adjust how much of the brake force comes from the motor itself, which will put electricity back into the battery, or actually using the pads and discs to slow the vehicle down. One of the questions we most frequently get asked when it comes to electric vehicles is the startup process, because they simply just don't make any noise. But the reality is very simple. You jump in the car, you close your door as normal, you put your foot on the brake and you press the start button, and it comes to life. Now, one of the things that the new Audis do is that they will make a noise. When you pop it into drive, it will start making a sort of a humming noise. This is just to let other drivers know and let other people around you know that you're about to drive off and something's about to happen. So in the e-tron, we've got the different driving modes on the virtual dashboard. Right now I can see on the left-hand side we've got our power, how much power we're using. On the right-hand side we've got the speed. By pressing the view button I can change that to a couple of different mode on display options. Something that you'll immediately notice with a lot of these cars is they've got what's called a predictive efficiency assist. That means that as you're coming up to a roundabout, as I am doing now, I'm not actually touching the brake, it's doing it for me. It's using pure regeneration, so it's not using the actual brake pads of the car. It's putting electricity back into the motor and therefore increasing my range, and it slowed me down for the roundabout quite nicely. So we can just cruise off straight away without actually having to use the brake, which is actually really quite a cool thing to have. So the humming noise that you hear when you're sort of moving around at slow speed, it gets quieter as the car goes faster. That's because naturally the car will make a little bit more noise as you get up to a normal road speed. We're going along now at 60 miles an hour and it just sounds like a normal car. You can't hear the engine, but it's just cruising along. It feels very much like a normal Audi. It's just really smooth, it's really quiet, and it's just an all-round lovely ride. So we've mentioned the automatic regeneration, but there's also different modes of manual recuperation that you can use on these cars. When it comes to the Q4 and the e-tron itself, we've got the paddles on the steering wheel. You pull the left-hand paddle and it will actually increase the brake force. You can see a little symbol come up on the dashboard that shows you how much of the brake force you're using. But there's also, in the Q4 specifically, a separate button on the drive system. So just down where you select a gear, there's a D/B. When you put that into the B mode, what it means is that as soon as you lift your foot off the accelerator, it's automatically going to start recuperating energy. So it will use the motor as a brake to start slowing the car down on the assumption that you don't need it. It's just a different style of driving, something that you could choose to use if you wanted. If not, you can just leave it on the standard drive mode with standard recuperation active. So when it comes to an electric vehicle, the most obvious difference is charging it. You don't put fuel in this car, you're not going to charge it on its journeys the vast majority of the time. You're going to start off each journey with a full charge of electricity, which is something you'll just do at home with what was ultimately one of these, an AC charger. Now there's two types of charging port inside the e-trons. We've got a standard Type 2 cable, and you've also got the additional holes for a DC style charger. Now a DC style charger is one that you're going to see more commonly at a high-speed charging station, whether it's Ionity or if it's Ecotricity at one of the service stations or sort of petrol stations around the country. They have a fairly vast network of these. There's a whole app system that you can use to have a little look. We'll talk about that in a little bit more detail in a moment. But it really is just as simple as plugging in your electric car and going to bed. When you leave for work the next morning, when you leave for your journeys, it'll be there and it'll be charged. Now, whilst I'm at the back of the car, there's one thing I'm going to explain in a little more detail. The 40 badging on this car denotes how much power it puts out. when we're looking at cars that have got internal combustion engines, we're looking at hybrids and we're looking at pure electric, there isn't an easy way to compare the different sizes and the different power outputs between the models. So what Audi have done is we've just created a banding system. The more powerful the car, the bigger the number. So effectively, if you see a 50 here, it's quicker than a 40. If you see a 60, it's quicker than a 50. It's really that simple. So one of the other important features that you'll see on the inside of a hybrid or an electric Audi is an addition to the sat-nav system. Now, in any Audi, the sat-nav system is absolutely fantastic. The new system we've designed is absolutely brilliant. When you get the new touchscreen displays, the sat-nav that comes with that is it's an updated system and it's fantastic. But on this new one, we've got a blue ring that runs around the outside. Now that is my theoretical range, based on current conditions, based on current charge level. That is how far I'll get before I need to fill up with electricity. So I can sit here now knowing that I can get to Northampton or Kettering or almost to Saffron Walden without running out of electricity. But if I were to set a sat-nav destination that is outside of that area, what it will actually do is it will route me via the nearest or the most efficient charging points. So it might not be the most direct route that I'll end up taking, but it will be the quickest when you factor in how much electricity I need to take on board for the journey. So part of Audi's new connected car system is that we've got something called My Audi. This means we can connect your car to your phone. So you can actually log into your car from your phone. You can do things like preheating the car, you can set your air conditioning, set the temperatures just right before you leave, depending on the vehicle specification of course, but you can also pre-program your sat-nav as well. So you can pull up your sat-nav destination on your phone, which is really easy. You can click save as a My Audi destination, then when you jump into the car, you just click My Audi destinations and all of a sudden you can pull it through. This includes things like pre-programmed routes with charging points at destinations and all sorts of different stops that you might want to pre-program throughout the journey. There's other fantastic apps as well. We've got things like the Zap Map, which you can use to pre-program. You can use it to work out which different routes you might want to take, dependent on which chargers are available, and even whether or not they're working. The whole connected car system is really coming a long way, and it's fantastic. So hopefully you've had a little look at the electric range in this video and thought, actually, that could be a bit of me. Don't just take my word for it on how brilliant these cars are. They're available to test drive at all of our Vindis Audi sites. Some of them are actually available for 24 hours as well. We've got stock vehicles available on e-tron, e-tron Sportback, and there's even a few Q4s coming through very soon too. So please don't hesitate, pick up the phone, let's get you booked in for a 24-hour test drive, experience the electric Audi range for yourself. Thank you very much for taking the time today. Bye-bye.